The Victorians were known for their fascination with death, which led to several morbid practices that seem strange or unsettling by today's standards. Here are some of the most notable. 1. Mourning jewelry. Imagine wearing a locket, ring, or brooch that contained a piece of your deceased loved one. Not a photograph, but an actual piece of them. Mourning jewelry often incorporated the hair of the deceased, woven into intricate designs. Hair was seen as the most enduring part of the body and was therefore used to create mementos that could be kept close. These pieces of jewelry were often worn for years or even a lifetime as a way to keep the memory of the deceased alive. 2. Death masks. Before photography became widespread, another way to capture a person's likeness after death was through a death mask. This was a plaster or wax cast made directly from the face of the deceased, capturing their features in minute detail. These masks were often displayed in the home or kept as a personal keepsake. While they might seem unsettling now, they were considered a deeply personal way to remember a loved one. 3. Cemetery picnics. Victorians had a very different relationship with cemeteries than we do today. They were seen as serene, almost park-like settings where families could gather not just to mourn, but to socialize. It wasn't uncommon for families to pack a picnic and spend the day in the cemetery, visiting the graves of loved ones, and even enjoying the peaceful surroundings. Cemeteries like London's Highgate or Paris's Père Lachaise became popular spots for leisurely walks, far from the bustle of the city. 4. Funeral processions. Victorian funerals were elaborate affairs, often involving long, winding processions through the streets. The wealthier the family, the more extravagant the procession. Black horses, carriages draped in heavy black cloth, and professional mourners, people hired to walk in the procession and mourn loudly, were common sights. These processions were a public display of grief, designed to show the community just how much the deceased was loved and respected. 5. The cult of mourning. The Victorians turned mourning into an art form, with strict rules about how long one should mourn and what was appropriate to wear. Widows, in particular, were expected to mourn for years, sometimes for the rest of their lives, dressing entirely in black. Mourning periods were divided into stages, with each stage allowing for slight changes in dress, color, and social activities. Entire businesses thrived on providing mourning clothes and accessories, making grief a very visible and prolonged process. 6. Seances and spiritualism. The Victorian era was also the height of spiritualism, the belief that it was possible to communicate with the dead. Seances became a popular pastime among the upper classes, with mediums claiming to contact the spirits of the deceased. These gatherings were often held in dark, candle-lit rooms, with participants sitting around a table holding hands and waiting for the medium to summon the spirits. The desire to connect with lost loved ones drove many to participate in these eerie rituals, even though the practice of seances were often rife with fraud and deception. 7. Posthumous portraiture. Before photography, wealthy families would commission artists to paint portraits of their deceased loved ones. These portraits often depicted the deceased as if they were still alive, with eyes open and a serene expression on their face. In some cases, the artist would paint the deceased as if they were in the prime of life, erasing signs of illness or old age. These paintings were cherished family heirlooms, intended to preserve the memory of the departed for generations. These practices, while morbid to modern sensibilities, were deeply rooted in the Victorians' lives. In an era where mortality was ever present, these rituals provided comfort and a way to honor the dead. They also reflect the complex relationship Victorians had with death, one that was both fearful and reverent, making it a central part of their culture and daily lives.